Live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our April 2nd Sunday. I am going live a bit early just because we got a lot of stuff going on today. So we're going live on YouTube, and this will be obviously shared into our Facebook groups and into our classrooms later. So it's an interesting month that we are sitting in. Certain parts of the world, things are really starting to bloom, and in certain parts of the world, things are dying. So it really depends on, what you're looking at to determine your perspective of reality. And regardless of where you live on planet Earth, it's all about you right now and you creating a custom universe. I know I've been saying that in every video I've been posting, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And it's almost like you can feel this urgency in my voice. But ultimately, it's really about looking at your life so much more from what you are seeing out there. And it's all about how you're feeling in here. Obviously we know that if you follow me and you are really into kind of the quantum perspective of spirituality, you probably have a good handle or idea on manifestation. And I'm asking every one of my clients, including myself, to really pay attention to your belief systems about manifestation right now, because ultimately the game is changing in a way where you are going to feel the discord so much more of separation than you ever have before. So it's going to be a really great opportunity for you to fine tune your belief systems and follow where your feelings are going so that you can kind of correct and shift lanes or, eliminate certain patterns from a easier way now. It feels harder, but it's only because every light is turned on and we're seeing all of the mess. We're seeing our mess. We're seeing the mess out there, the projection, the mirror mess. And we are, I feel like, doing a lot of inner spring cleaning. That's kind of what's going on in our classrooms right now. And with all of my clients around the world is that we're being called to spring clean our closets, our inner closets. And it really kind of brings us back to this Taurus energy that we're moving into. Taurus is all about, homebody and its stubbornness, but it's also about that enjoying the decadence and abundance of life. We didn't come here to suffer for our spirituality. We literally came to be the example of what a Christed heart and soul looks like embodied. So our objective here is to act out the desires of your heart. Your role here as a way shower or a seeker or a healer or a teacher or a guide is to live through the embodiment of that which you have desired and made manifest. So we get really distorted information when we try to follow the work of certain religions and certain teachers outside of us to determine, well, what is my purpose, or what am I supposed to be doing here, and how am I supposed to make a living at this? And most of my students have followed the greats of Joseph Murphy or Alan Watts, and you're going to hear the same things over and over and over again from these teachers that are just phenomenal, where they really anchor in the redundancy of your feeling state creates your reality. You always hear in the new thought movements, your thoughts create reality, your thoughts create reality, thoughts create reality. And ultimately, if every thought created your reality, you would be living in a really crazy reality, because everything would be manifesting very quickly. And so you do have the time-space continuum here that helps you decide, basically, that if what you were thinking about, would you like to create that? So the universe looks at your decisions not by the thoughts that you think, but universe is tracking your choices based on basically three things. Now, a lot of you are working through patterns, but let me really ultimately show you how a pattern is created. And again, oh, my pattern was created from trauma. Okay. But ultimately, a thought that is mixed with a feeling has a vibration to it. A thought could be very neutral, right? But a thought mixed with a feeling is now, it has momentum, it has movement. And if this thought and this feeling become a mood is basically a a coming attraction for you. Basically, the mood that you find yourself is a cluster of feelings. And I will tell you that moods are not just something that you're creating here. You could walk into a mood. Walk into certain stores, there's a mood. Okay. You hear a lot of the time, the vibration was low, the vibration was low. But let me explain it to you in more of a human perspective here and look at it as a mood. Do you have someone that you love and when you talk to them, it's like they're always in a mood? They have a specific mood. It puts you into a mood because the power of influence shifts the vibration, of course. But when you look at what happens if you spend too long in a mood that is not related to abundance and decadence and art and love and beauty and curiosity, then what you're doing is you're telling the universe that I am this mood. And we know that I am is your virtual reality player. So your virtual reality player simulation is created in your root chakra. And your root chakra, if healthy, should mirror your crown chakra, which is I am. And a lot of you guys are not only teaching, but you're telling yourself in the mirror, I am God. You're knowing this on a logical perspective of all your spiritual studies. But again, by the time you get through your first 7 years of life, your root might not be saying, I am God. It might be saying, I am not. And I've done lots of videos on the I am not perspective. You really have to look at this idea of yourself as a video game character. If your video game character is reading from a script of I am not, then what your player is going to be doing, acting, desiring, is the idea of becoming, of trying, of working, of studying, basically on how to be. And this is most people's entire life, is they take the actor, I am not, and then action. And now you're acting out, I am not. So as soon as you add the not on there, then all of a sudden you become separated from I am God. Or, I'm a child of God, or I am the universe, whatever you want to call it that makes your belief system not get all weird. All right. So either way, your crown is I am, complete in the knowing, in that gamma assertion of I am. And if all has gone well, then your root chakra says, I am the embodiment of, and I create my reality from I am. But if we're creating from I am not, and we're always getting proof from the feedback loop that I am not, then you're going to find yourself trying a lot. You're going to feel yourself hoping a lot. You're going to find yourself asking a lot, doing a lot, needing a lot, feeling the emptiness of the I am. Now, if this kind of poisons itself up into your sacral, then your sacral, which is your creativity and your sexuality and your sensuality and basically your flow, if I am not, then moves up into your sacral energy, then who you are sexually attracted to, who you are drawn to create things with, what you are drawn to create will be coming from the script of I am not. And this is why relationships are impossible for you to feel seen, heard, safe, loved in a relationship where like attracts like. So the person that you are attracted to might seem to fill all the void that you are thinking of yourself, and you get really attached to this chemistry. But really, in the universe, like attracts like. You do not get what you want, you get what you are being. So ultimately, we get very disappointed in other people when we realize that they are not, I am not too. And they're mad at you because you were supposed to be the I am. And then two I am nots get together. And if they don't recognize, hold on a second, I am disconnected from my source here. And therefore, I am blaming you on a lot of this lack and separation that I'm feeling. I'm blaming you on this behavior, but you are behaving. I am not. I am not safe. I am not heard. I am not seen. I am not loved. I am not provided for. And we can get this and move it up into the solar plexus, where then you are physically action demonstrating this. So really take a moment and look around at your life right now where your behavior might be demonstrating I am not. Because if you had this connection with I am, and you had access to the infinite quantum potential of reality, which means everything is in possibilities, and it's basically just like, what are you ordering? Like the universe is your genie. If you do not feel that in the core of your being, that you are a child of God who deserves abundance and freedom and, excessive bounty of what this universe creates over and over again, then you might be playing from the player of I am not. This sounds so simple, but a lot of the times we get moving and shaking on this spiritual journey and we forget to notice where our character is playing from. We see eye on the prize. We know where we want to go. We know what we want to do. We know what we want to have. But if your central command system, your root chakra, is saying, I am not, then you're going to be the character of I am not, no matter what you physically do. Matter of fact, your actions are going to look way different if you're operating from I am not. Then you're going to be working on how to be. A child who did not get brainwashed by this indoctrination, if they were told every day, you are the child of God, you can create anything your mind sets you to. Let me show you how to use your imagination. Let me show you how to track your feelings. Let me show you how to create moods. Let me show you how to sit on your bed and call it in. And then in gratitude, know that it is done completely because you're living from the end. Now, if we taught our children this, right, then what would happen is that we would have these adults that are literally living as the I am. Your entire day would look completely different. From you brushing your teeth to going out in the world, what you did, who was in your life, what would be around you, what you would know, what you would desire would be ultimately completely different. So let me ask you this question. If all of your dreams came true today, all right, and you had no more want within you except whatever desires were created from the experience of having everything, which would be, what would you be doing differently? What conversations would you have or not have? Who would be in your life? What would be in your life? What chip wouldn't be on your shoulder? What fear wouldn't be in your heart? What blame wouldn't be sitting there snaring at someone? Because if all of your prayers were answered as they're supposed to be, then you would be excited, grateful, creative, aware, helpful, generous, loving, kind, happy, joyful, peaceful. Instead, how do you wake up? You know, do you wake up, first thing you do is pull your phone out and notice what you are not? Do you notice what you can't do because you just woke up and somebody's sitting on a beach somewhere? You know, did you wake up and remember that you still have all these unpaid bills? Did you wake up and you know and have to go tend to someone else's needs? You might be playing from the character of I am not. And you've been hearing me talk so much about building your kingdom and building your kingdom and building your kingdom. And ultimately, this isn't something that you can go and purchase. This idea of truly creating your heaven on earth. You have everything inside of you to do such. But ultimately, it's going to come down to the foundation. It's going to come down to what belief system is the root chakra speaking for you. So we've done a lot of healing work. We've done a lot of shadow work. We've done a lot of work at this point. If we are in the quantum realms, because we have access to every modality here, right? We've tried it all. We've read it all. We've done it all. We've probably taught it all. And if you are preaching or teaching in this moment that your clients are a fractal of God consciousness, okay, then don't you want to feel like that? Because ultimately, the Christ consciousness is a fully awakened being that is operating and acting as the I am. That's been our only mistake, guys. This is like, duh. But the thing is when you're operating from I am not, every single thing you do down to the purpose you think you're here for is different. If all of your needs were met, your purpose would be what? Most of you think your purpose is to help people awaken or help people learn how to manifest, or your purpose is to get this book published so you can feel, you know, that the world has received you. But ultimately, your entire purpose was to do nothing more than manifest your heart's desires into form so that you may demonstrate that and show the world what I am is embodied. That was your only job. And because we're very unique, our sauce is all different. That would have been so amazing to see all these different versions of I am. Oh wow, you're an astronaut. You're over here doing this. You're just playing. Wow. I didn't know we were allowed to do that. But the people who are thriving right now, like you're looking at them and like, wow, how are they doing this? The only difference between what they have and what you have is nothing more than a program that you're running. Your character is reading from the script, I am not, and therefore action. People, places, scenarios, situations, simulations are produced out of the I am consciousness that you vibrate. So that means that when you are not, and you are moving into your mental awareness to find your intuition of what you should be doing, I get a great idea. I know I need a business partner. I need an investor. I need a new house. I need to lose weight. Whatever idea comes from the I am not is going to put you back in to the I am not, no matter how perfect it looks. When you are vibrating from I am not, then you are just like the rest of us, and we're all waking up to this. And I truly believe this with my soul, that it is a form of disease. Lack, scarcity consciousness is mental illness. And here's how I know that. It is because there is nothing but abundance in the universe. Nothing. I mean, there is food that falls out of trees and just dies because there's so much food. There is so much abundance on this planet that it is actually quite gluttonous how much abundance is. And the universe doesn't have a no. It doesn't even have a wait. It's not saying wait. It is saying find the frequency of that which you want, and then it will be yours. That's all the universe is ever saying, because the universe only says yes. So if we are in a lack consciousness, in a scarcity consciousness, then we are abundant in lack. We are abundant in scarcity. And so if we don't go into the central command center of that root and really sit with ourselves and say, okay, everything I'm doing out here, anytime you are taking action from trying, then you know you're operating in I am not. If you're not getting your message across, if you're not getting back what you truly are putting in, if you're not being seen and heard, if you do not feel safe, you are running from this I am not. Now, here's the crazy thing about it is, and I believe that it was Joseph Murphy who said this in one of his books. I don't remember which one, but he was talking about how lack consciousness is truly mental illness. And I think that that also helps us understand it a little better. Not that we're assigning labels, but we can look at cancer. Let's take cancer. Let's take cancer and let's take lack, scarcity consciousness. And let's see who gets more attention. Oh, you have cancer. But the thing is lack and scarcity started first. And then it became the dis-ease, which is all disease means, dis-ease, a body that's not at ease. And then it manifested in whatever form of dis-ease that it did. And if, let's say it's cancer, let's say it's colon cancer, okay? Let's say it's breast cancer. And depending on how long that I am has been in scarcity and lack consciousness, well, when you are separated from your I am, you're separated from source energy. You're separated from your chi moving healthy through your body. You're separated from true guidance to come in. You're separated from your immunity. You're separated from your antibodies. Because the thing is you are not as in separation as you think. It's not like you can be totally rich over here and get cancer and think you don't have poverty or scarcity consciousness. The amount of money that you have has nothing to do with lack consciousness. Nothing. Because I've met some millionaires that are in lack consciousness. Because again, whenever you are in scarcity and lack consciousness, you will have some obsession or addiction that is helping you not feel the lack. You will move into alignment with something that will give you the feeling, sensation, or objective of experiencing I am. So a lot of times when someone is I am not, they will go out and make a lot of money. They could be sitting on a whole bunch of money and they do not feel abundant. I have lost a whole bunch of weight at times and not felt thin because it wasn't the situation, the circumstances outside that were making me feel that way. It was coming from a root wound or a root separation in consciousness. I got bumped away from myself at some point, and then I got other coordinates, right? And most of us get bumped out of our I ams by the time we're 7. I mean, there's very few people on the planet that even the spiritual parents that we are, we're still abiding by these I am not rules, because basically I am not is the frequency of 3D, because the idea is to have slavery here. Then it's you searching for your I am through working really hard, through, always on a diet, through, starting another relationship, through starting over at a new job. But really what it's coming from is I am not. And so what I had my students do these last few weeks, since we're doing a lot of Imagineering work and we're working on building our inner kingdoms, it all has to start in the root, because identifying what is out of alignment within yourself is the healthiest thing you could do. Thinking that you know everything, thinking that I've got this, I know how to manifest, I'm not listening to this, that's fine. But ultimately you're going to come back to someone's teachings that is going to say, oh, you might be running this I am not program. Have you ever thought about that? And then you have to sit with and unpack maybe why you believe you are not. What is creating these bad moods? What's creating this anxiety and this depression? That is a mood. Because you sit in it long enough, it starts to build a pattern, and the pattern wants to run. It wants to move it over and over again. So you find yourself up and down, up and down. In a good mood, when something resembles I am. When someone tells you they love you or you get some money, I am. But if the lack consciousness is what has programmed your I am, that money won't stick around, the abundance won't continue to flow, that friend will turn their back on you, that relationship will cheat on you, that job will, eliminate you, because it's coming from your center core vibration of I am. All of your behavior is going to come from the I am, which means what you create, what you demonstrate, how you show love and receive love, what you say, what you express, what you see, what you hear, and what you believe you know is all coming from I am or I am not. So look at the areas in your life where you feel the flow. Because if it was I am, your life would be flowing. Your creativity would be flowing, and the abundance would match the creativity. Not because of hard work, but because you exist and I am God. And therefore, God's abundance is my abundance. God's wealth is my wealth. Right? The trees, they're getting what they need. They may go through their seasons, but they plan for that vibrationally. We don't plan for our seasons of growth because we're chasing a future feeling. If you're having a really difficult time living in the present moment, it is just because you are running I am not. And that means that I've got to stay headed in the future, but I'm using my past as my blueprint, not my present. So how do we get from I am not to I am? Because again, the how is always what I get, the questions. Okay, how do we do that? And we are spending an entire year in our non-duality class in our Divine Feminine workshop to move back into harmony and alignment of the I am. So I'll ask you to do one thing and then I'll show you how to do this. I think it's personally very simple on paper and extremely difficult to do because every single belief system and idea and thought form and what you see and what you hear is all being perceived through this I am not. So it sounds really easy to do. And I will tell you, it's very difficult to change your center command system programming without taking a big, hard look in the mirror. It's not only hard, it's scary at times. You're running out of time. Well, you're going to see how much time you wasted when you show you how easy this is. And you might get a little upset. I have seen my clients experience that, and I've gone through that myself. So the thing you want to look at is you as a spiritual being. The one thing that I see the most of, and I also have been guilty of this myself over the years, is to kind of look at ourselves as, especially when we're judging ourselves off of people around us, we have this tendency to have that spiritual ego of I am more awake than other people. I know more than other people. I'm capable more than other people. I see the world for what it is. I have studied more. I have more training. But ultimately, any form of judgment is coming from I am not. Any judgment whatsoever, because judgment means I am separated. I am not safe. It's self-preservation. Anytime you judge anything, because there is no bad or good in the world. When you look through the eyes of I am, you see even the bad things as a necessity, as part of the cause and effect of the universe. You see the mosquitoes, they have an important purpose, just like the storms, just like the snake eating a mouse. You get it when you are in the I am. And when you are in the I am not, this is a very, very cruel, scary, unfair world where it always looks like someone is living a better life than you, no matter how hard you work. If you're running an I am not. So I had all my students, even the super spiritual ones, like, okay, all we're doing right now is teaching the new gospel. And the new gospel is the old gospel, what we're just giving it from a metaphysical approach. We're basically saying, this was the manifestation guide, and it's all in parables and metaphors for a reason, right? Because it needed to be encrypted, obviously. And so if you can read the encryptions, you understand that it is truly and honestly a manifestation guide. It is the guide to being human here, the embodiment, the cause and effect, the masculine, the feminine. All right. So I have all my students look at the 7 deadly sins and say, which ones do you still, after all this spiritual training, which ones do you still struggle with? Now, if you struggle with even one, and this is the harsh truth, if you even struggle with one, let's say that wrath, or, sometimes this world, man, I just have anger towards this world, or you feel wrath that coming on you, because you want to look at the 7 deadly sins, and I'll read them just in case, you haven't taken a note of them lately. If I can find them here. Okay. The first one is lust. Now, a lot of times spiritual people don't consider themselves lustful, but if you have ever been addicted to your twin flame, well, that's the spiritual meaning of lust. Okay. A desire that becomes obsessive, a desire that becomes unhealthy, where it's like, think of lust as all your attention units are going towards your desire, because you're an infinite being. So you're going to have lots of different desires. And lust is also coming from a feeling of starvation, because you need, and need implies lack. So if this person or this thing you are lusting after, whether it's money or a person or something you just have to have that just devours all of your conscious awareness, well, that would be lust. Okay. Now remember, lust can work a couple of different ways. You might not be experiencing a lot of lust, but maybe you're witnessing a lot of it. You're seeing it and you're having a judgment about it. And maybe, you went through a lot of religious indoctrination as a child, so lust was forbidden for you. But you somehow are noticing it a lot. You have to understand that it's not about your behavior that determines your I am not. What matters and what determines your I am is what you are noticing. Because when you have been like suffocated from your own desires, from your religious indoctrination, no dancing, no singing, no playing, no fun, then what you are going to do is you are going to pretend that those desires or feelings don't exist for you. But because you are emotional, physical, vibrational, etherical being, anything that moves through your conscious awareness that doesn't have a flow is going to start backing up. And so you can see you're backing up in the form of people, places, and things in your reality. So mirrored consciousness basically means that what I am noticing is me. You are all the people in your dream. You are all the people in your family. You are all the people in your community. You are all the people in your government. You are all the people in the universe, if you're noticing it. Now, again, you could notice it and it's super neutral. Like, yeah, I get that. I understand that. There is a difference between numbness and neutrality. Neutrality means that you understand completely a neutral point of behavior or existence. Numbness would be more coming from deep levels of avoidance. Okay, so there's a difference there. But what you are noticing, what you are involved in, what you are attracting, it could be nothing to do with you, but your sister calls you every single day and gives you her relationship trauma. That is your vibration as well. Because it isn't just what you're doing, because you could be suppressing a lot of things that you shouldn't be doing. And if you are suppressing something that you want to do or that you think is really weird, but then you're going to see it. So you're also vibrating I am not by who is around you and how they are around you. You could be the perfect person who goes to church, does their work, pays their bills, sits in isolation, gives back to the community, and you could see horrible things happening around you. And that doesn't mean that you are bad. It means that you are living in a simulation of I am not. In your simulation, see, your actor or your archetype or your game, player is the one that prints out the playground and the playmates. So you're creating this virtual simulation that you are living in, right? That you are aware of, that you are connected to, that you are interacting with or not interacting with, that's maybe interacting with you. You have created that from your seed of I am or I am not. And you have also created the playground. So if you're feeling stuck or trapped, or you don't like where you're living, or you can't get away from your job, or you wish you could go somewhere else and live, then you have also created, your playground out of I am not. So this is how easy it's going to be once you correct this particular vibration. Now, most of you are probably saying, Jess, like half of my life is great, but half of it's not. So how does that work? Well, here's the understanding of this. Obviously, regardless of what the world is seeing in gender right now, you were perfectly designed in the image of God. And gender was important to build your particular ability to manifest your desires because of I am. So the I am, the awareness that you are, God itself, is always spoken in every religion as I am in some different perspective. So if I was going to look at I am, I would say the I represents the subconscious you, the subconscious mind, and it also represents desire. So your I is I desire, which means that you're wanting to experience, demonstrate, express, see, do, live, play, give, receive out of your I. Your I. Now, quickest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So there's nothing in between the I and the am. And the am is the manifestation of your desire. So I desire, am, demonstrate. No middleman, no becoming, no school to go to figure out how to do this. No, suffering for your sins. No, resentment because someone won't let you be the I am. There is not one person in your universe right now that is actually creating your I am not, because it's coming from your root chakra. They are a demonstration of it. They are an expression of it. They are a vibrational match of it, but they are not creating it, nor do they have the power to change it for you. No matter how much they love you, they could say, I love you every day 10 times and mean it from their heart. But if you are vibrating I am not, you're not going to receive it the way that it would be honestly true. Not that you're not whole, but when your I and your am is in separation, well, then your conscious and subconscious mind is in separation. And conscious mind is your masculine, and your subconscious is the womb of creation. So your desire and your demonstration of that desire is the I am. And that I am together is the perfect union. And the reason why the brain is in two hemispheres is because even though your conscious and subconscious minds are technically separated, they are almost like if you've ever played with resin and you have two specific ingredients and they literally have to be exactly the same measurement in order to produce a result. So it's like the conscious mind and the subconscious mind need to be in union. Otherwise, if they are not in union, this masculine and feminine energy within you, then I could be desiring and the masculine could be demonstrating I am not. Because again, maybe you were told that you weren't. And so in quantum fitness, we always start with this teaching that you are not broken, that you are not wrong, that you are not being punished, that you are not, not allowed. You are here to correct this basically separation that is caused when you get here, because this is separation. Third dimension is separation. So your hemispheres are going to get bumped out of alignment. I mean, it's just, unless I said like your parents, lived in a world where they could demonstrate I am for you, show you what that looks like, and then also teach that to you, because they could be telling you every day you're God, but they could be acting out of alignment. So you're going to be a sponge to your environment. And that's why even the kids that are being raised by spiritual parents are getting, they're getting into the I am nots. And usually by the time you're 7, your brain is more solid. And so it's like, okay, get it. I am not. And then they begin to go pursue a life out of that. So ultimately, your subconscious is your desire. It is the feminine energy. It is the visionary. It is the soul that says, if I was going to be real in form here, these are all the things that I would do because those are the ingredients of my soul. Your unique sauce is the desire. No two people desire the same. Maybe they want to go to the same place, but they want to do it differently. They want to see it differently. They want to experience it differently. And so when your subconscious has a desire and it isn't allowed to be acted out by that masculine energy, well, then that would be the greatest wound that a spirit embodied would ever face, because then you would have all of these desires in your heart and not be able to do anything in this heavy meat suit. And it feels like hell. So ultimately, the hell that you are experiencing or noticing or living in is only coming from your conscious and subconscious being in separation. That is it. That is the only hell you're experiencing. Because if these were two in harmony, working together, okay, and they start flowing when they're turned on with each other and they're working in harmony, then the Christed energy within you awakens. See, a lot of you guys believe that Kundalini energy is going to come through you at some point in some meditation, and you're going to be online and you're going to know everything. But ultimately, the only way that you will truly be able to awaken the Christ within you is to have your conscious and subconscious mind telling the story of I am, because that's God. And when that is I am, well, then that Christed, crystal, anointed plasma that is residing in your pineal gland will shatter, and all of those fractal crystals will move all through the body and through the spinal fluid. And then you will not only be I am, you will be superhuman I am. So look at your behavior right now and look at what you are demonstrating to the universe. This might help you understand what you're manifesting. This might help you give yourself a break here and realize that you really have been working your butt off. You really have been showing up. You've really been doing your work. You really are constantly deep in the shadows. But what if I told you that all you really needed to do was to become a solid engineer again and an Imagineer again, and go back into your true desires and see where they have shifted from I am to I am not. Because a lot of your desire then moves from your heart to your mind, and it becomes a survival desire. When you get separated from your consciousness, you don't feel provided and protected. When you are separated from your consciousness, you do not feel seen and heard. You do not feel loved. You do not feel whole. So let's look at the next one. We've got lust, okay? And let's look at gluttony. And I will tell you the two that I have struggled with over the years before I figured out that I was running an I am not program, even though I teach, was gluttony and pride. Okay. And when you look at gluttony, it's the idea of never being full. It's never feeling satisfied. It's never enough. Okay. Never enough love, never enough time, never enough money, never enough stuff, never enough food. And you just keep getting more and more. And the issue with it is because it's a mental illness, you actually quite accumulate a lot in gluttony. You have, an extra closet full of shoes. You have more bills. You have more body weight. You have more weird addictions because you can never feel satisfied. So if that's one of your I am nots, own it. This isn't about the mask. See, what happens is when we get on a spiritual journey, we just wear different masks. We go, okay, well, I'm going to hide my gluttony over here and I'm going to become a glutton to spiritual teachings. I'm going to become a glutton to my twin flame that feels like I knew him in a different life. I'm going to become a glutton to shadow work. So if you have the mental illness, it does not change by just changing your environment because it's coming from a root. So you could completely change your environment and you could still have gluttony as one form of your I am not. All right. Honest here. So the next one, where is it? Okay. Greed. Now, you may not feel that you are greedy, but maybe you're noticing people that are greedy. Maybe you're, judging people that are greedy. Maybe you are the opposite of greed. You're in the submission of it. But I bet you if you really said, okay, the only way that I'm going to be able to build this kingdom, a whole new world, is if I change these coordinates, you might want to not spiritually bypass this and take a good hard look at your behavior from all the different angles of the different perspectives of these 7 deadly sins. Not that these are the only ones, but I'm saying that these are the textbook ones that we all are dealing with, whether we're witnessing it or doing it ourselves. Maybe it's something you used to do. But have you replaced greed somewhere else? See, it's not just about greed of money. That's the first thing your thought goes to. But you could have a greed of clients or, well, how come he has this and I don't, right? And so you want to really take an honest, hard look at that for yourself. The next one is sloth. And I would say that this one is it's really obvious. What's the point? And it's not fair. What's the point? Procrastination is sloth. Lack of motivation is sloth. And it is expressed apathy that no matter what I do, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. So that's sloth. You could say, well, Jess, I don't feel like this every day. But if it is part of your world, if it's part of your, flow, then you might want to look at it because this is in the way of your happily ever after that you are here to create and have abundantly, 100%. No questions asked, no matter what sins you have. Okay? So the next one, wrath. Obviously, we talked about this one. And I will tell you the number one thing that I see that stops people's manifestation besides pride is envy. Envy shuts down your manifestations. Because as soon as you start to build an I am, and you start to feel good about it, or you start to be like, you know what, I'm really starting to make progress, and you immediately see something in your universe, maybe something bigger or better or easier that it looks like someone has, and your first thought is to, maybe you don't even know it's envy. Maybe you just hate them. Okay? I've had marriage counseling sessions where the husband and wife were envious of each other. And it didn't come off like envy. Oh, because I don't want what he's doing, but I want how he is. He's just so carefree. He's so loving. I'm so rigid and hard. That's envy. And I love it when I think it's Joseph Mercy. He talks about one of his books. He talks about the acid test. And the acid test is basically to silence yourself and get really still and then think about the people in your life and see who has a bitter acidic taste. Okay. And then look at what you're associating on the feeling space around with, because anyone that you are judging, mad at, holding hostage, someone who's holding hostage of you, someone you can't get away from, any lower vibration, fear, guilt, shame, humiliation, resentment, grief, loss, wrath, lust, any of these lower vibrations are nothing more than telling you that you are separated from your consciousness. That's it. That's all this behavior is telling you. It is not telling you that you can't have what they have. It is not telling you that you're wrong or that you're going to have to work more or you better go take one more class. What this is saying is that you in this moment don't believe that you are. That's what envy is telling you. But if you can look at someone who has more money, more beauty, more health, more happiness, and the first thought you have is, thank you for inspiring me what is possible, you are moving into alignment of I am. When you can look at a stack of bills with money that you don't have and you can say, I am so excited to pay these because I am becoming I am, you are closing the gap. Because the thing is the bills and the illness and the breakups and, the health is nothing more than a manifestation of I am not. Now, how do we get there, Jess? Okay. First and foremost, if you're asking how and when, you are running I am not. Because if you were, you'd throw out your order and you'd go get busy playing. You would not once think that it wasn't yours because I am. And if I am God, Spirit, Jesus incarnated, whatever you want to call yourself, then the abundance of the universe is yours at your desire and at your will. 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, constantly. Because your subconscious mind, the desire that births within you, also is the ability to birth it, to create it, the womb of creation. Now, the inspired action, let me call this person, let me walk over here. That would be your masculine consciousness. That would be taking you to the right road to interact and to rendezvous with such desire manifest. But if it feels like you're trying and trying and trying, it is because you're feeling all this desire in the subconscious, and the desire might be coming from I can't have, I'm not allowed, I'm not free, I'm not safe. Because even though your subconscious mind is what runs your body and breathes your body and heals your body, it's literally not judging what you're feeling and thinking. It is just taking an imprint of constant downloads. So whatever you think enough over time becomes your definition of yourself. And what you pay attention to, right? Like you take a picture, well, that film is it's going to develop in the shadow or in the womb, in the dark. It's going to go into the shadow within you and it's going to create itself. So everything that's in your subconscious mind is basically going to reprint out. So the root of this wound here is not that the subconscious is full of pain and trauma and all this, and the conscious mind is like living in a shadow with addictions and masks. That's not the real issue here. The only issue is that these two have become separated from the desire and now become basically two aspects of themselves. And this is why you can feel so amazing and so in lack at the same time. Because I think what we do, and I know that this is kind of what I did, is I built my conscious mind so strong that I really had this persona for myself, that it made me feel like my subconscious mind was I am. But then no matter how hard I worked, something would fall through, or I would lose something, or the relationship would end, or, I would deal with another I am not situation. But as long as I was building the next I am, or working on the next I am, or studying for the next I am, I didn't notice what was happening in my subconscious. And it wasn't until I stopped everything in my life And I was forced to go into my inner world and say, okay, it's time for this relationship to be made into union. This marriage has to be resolved. There needs to be an intervention between the conscious and subconscious mind. Because it's not Satan out there that's ruining everything. It is not the laws that are ruining everything. It isn't money that's ruining everything. It's not even your health that's ruining everything. It is this separation. And it is simple as, oh, I have been running off of a I am not. And I will tell you that training your subconscious that has maybe like 48 years of I am not is not easy. And it's not like you can't do it. But the words I always use with my students that you see their eyes roll back is the consistency, the discipline, the routine. Because you have to take a program that's basically been proving itself right for as many years as you've been old, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you've studied, still running an I am not program, you're going to have to go in there and do this manually. And it's really tough because the subconscious mind is literally 95% of your vibration. And it is not like, it doesn't have to stay within you. It's telepathic, it's clairvoyant, it's clairaudio. It can roam around the planet and find things that you're asking for. It can attract more bad news to you. So because it's at your command. So if you say, oh my gosh, I'm always around people that are just so crazy. Well, your subconscious is like, at your command. And it's going to go all over the world finding the right people that are going to make you feel the way that you are feeling. If you need something like a solution to something, well, and you believe that I am, then you're going to command that subconscious to go find that answer for you, because it can literally leave the consciousness of whatever you're experiencing, because it's all the consciousness. It's the whole universe, because there's just basically one being. It's not just sitting there running your heart. It is literally infinite intelligence of the entire universe. It has the entire universe at your disposal. That means solutions that you could never even possibly think of. Abundance that you would never think that you could create or manifest. Freedom that is unfathomable to you is at your command. But the way that it works here is that if the masculine and feminine energy is not having a love affair together in union, basically sitting in prayer and meditating on the imagination of already created, then there's a gap somewhere. And if there is a gap anywhere in your manifestation, then you are in lack, because you are demonstrating that I don't have yet. So you have to live in that feeling. So the first thing that we're doing in our classrooms this year is we are teaching Imagineering, because your imagination is your I am. You imagine yourself, your consciousness imagine. You imagine yourself here, and you can imagine yourself somewhere else. Well, it comes down to what has been programmed in your subconscious that has basically broken up this marriage. Whatever happened in childhood separated the I and the am, and now there's an ego, a middleman, that's constantly making those heart space desires into lack desires. Make a list of all of your desires right now and think how many of these are coming from I don't have. Okay, and then look at some of the desires that are coming from I have and want more, or I have and just want to experience. Depending on how much your I am not will be your list. So if it's like, well, I need money for the bills, I got to pay the mortgage, I need a better job, I need to lose weight, I need to get healthy, I need my partner to understand me. That is all coming from I am not. And the heart's desires, well, you don't have time to think about a vacation. Or if you take a vacation, you're looking at the reviews to see if anybody has been like hurt at this place that you're going to. You will somehow create lack and separation in your beautiful vacation if you are running I am not. So ultimately, you've got to train your body like it is an unbehaved animal and recondition, reprogram, hypnotize over and over and over and over in your most suggestible phases of your day. Now, why is it that we wait for this you to be more suggestible? Well, think about it. When you are not soft and still, you are rigid, on guard, defensive, and objective. So you're not going to be working on union. You're going to be working on defending. You're going to be working on figuring it out. You're going to be working on the doing. You're going to be acting out the I am not. So several times a day, I recommend getting still and softening, because it's not just about the stillness, it's about the softening. The walls around your heart are keeping your abundance away. So you've got to put all those walls down, and you have got to refire up your imagination from the I am. I am abundant. I cannot wait to experience this, but I already have experienced it, and therefore I am. And so now all I have to do is sit in gratitude because I've already lived it. And at first, the more extreme you go with your I am abundance and I am freedom, if your subconscious mind is running the disease of lack, it is actually going to get worse, because it is saying, oh, now you're telling me that we're abundant, and now it's going to take that abundance and it's going to turn it into lack, and you'll actually get more bills. So you want to, at first, spend time in your theta brain waves, which is 25 minutes in the morning, right as you're waking up, in between sleep and awake, and before you go to sleep. And you want to do your I am retraining as if it's already manifested in the state of feeling. You actually want to create a mood. This is the secret sauce. If you can create a mood of already having it, then you are satisfied and grateful. Satisfied and grateful will create the mood, and the mood will create a pattern. So it's not just about let me look at my vision board. Oh God, that's going to be awesome. I'm really tired. I'm going to fall asleep. No, is let me create a mood before I fall asleep. Let me create a mood at my lunch break. Let me create a mood before I get out of this bed. And the mood would be, do not go look at social media. Work on your own highlight reel, not someone else's highlight reel. Work on creating your own highlight reel. And when you are in a bad mood, well, that's telling you that in this moment, I am believing I am not. And when you are I am versus I am not, it's going to be constant ups and downs, highs and lows. You're going to have good things happen, and then you're going to have echoes of really bad things happening, and you're going to be like, this isn't working. And the only reason that you have the ups and the downs is because these two hemispheres are not happily married. That's it. That's going to cause the vagus nerve to be all out of whack. Your nervous system is going to be constantly in fight or flight because there's no head of the household defending you. The head of the household, the masculine energy, is literally just, well, I'm doing what my wife wants, and that's to run lack. I'm going out and dating people who are going to prove to me that I am not. I'm going to make commitments with people that are going to take more away from me. And this is why they're so exhausted and anxious and depressed all the time. And so I've been really working on these moods because, obviously I've got a busy life, companies, obligations, commitments, kids, homes, things like that. So it's not always easy to bring yourself back to the I am. But I recommend, even though the greats of our time say, oh, sit in meditation for right before you wake up and right before you go to bed. I will tell you that has not worked for me because I had some major I am not programming, just being honest. I had to find a way to include the I am into every moment of my day because it wasn't working. And you're wondering, well, how am I going to do that when I have bills to pay and I have to work? Well, if you don't, this is going to take you a very long time, because if you have been putting in I am not for 48 years, like me, well, a little bit in the morning and a little bit at night, and then you acting in I am not all day is not going to get you there. So what I have found is that you do your morning work, you do your afternoon or your evening work, and then in the middle of the day, you find a place, your lunch break, you go to your car, before you go to the gym, before you act in your simulation at all, before you get on that conference call, before you hire someone, before you pay a bill, you get into your subtle suggestible, softened, open-hearted energy, and you create a mood of already having. This will completely rebalance your hormones. Your immunity will turn back on. Your metabolism will turn back on. Your state of being will shift slowly. And then throughout the rest of the day, that chunk of the morning and that chunk of the afternoon, you're going to have to be mindful of your moods. So if you could find a way to do your I am 51% of your day, then you would be you would be living in the kingdom of heaven. 51% of the day is I am. That's what the kingdom of heaven is, guys, is a reality that is coming from the root chakra I am. That's it. Because your creativity would look different, your demonstration would look different, your heart would look different and feel different. What you said would be different, what you saw would be different, and what you know would be the same as your root. You would not be seeing God out here. You'd be like, I am. And because you would be demonstrating an open-hearted, compassionate, abundant, free spirit, you would be highly, highly attractive. Because you would be, oh, look at them. They know what the heck is going on here. Look at that confidence. Look at that generosity. Look at that kindness. Look at that ability to see and not get triggered all the time. This is what we're going for. And whatever carrot you're following is perfect as long as you're following it from I am instead of I am not. So I am is I already am this and now I'd like to demonstrate it. Or I already am this and now I want to act it here. I already am this and I can already taste it and I can't wait to eat it at that restaurant. That's the formula for building the kingdom. So your imagineering work, your softening, your letting go, your trauma work is perfect as long as it's all for you to help your mental illness of lack and suffering. I mean, think about it. If you found out you had cancer tomorrow and you were like, I'm not doing chemo, well, what would you do? You would completely change your life. You'd change your diet. You'd change where you went. You'd change how you saw the world. You'd change how you treated yourself. So you need to look, if you are running lack consciousness, it's a good idea to look at this as a dis-ease because then it will help you with that egoic identity really take full responsibility in every area. Because if you are I am not, it's not just in your money, guys. You have to do a full life overhaul. I had to completely shut out the entire world for like 3 weeks and basically catch every thought and be like, okay, this is not going to create a mood. Why am I judging that person? Oh, why these things are happening? Okay, go back to the center. Go back to the center. Go back to the center. I had to soften my rigid masculine edge. I had to let go of all these false, relationships that were not serving me at that time because they were all built out of I am not. I had to stop overcommitting. I had to stop oversharing. There were so many things that I had to stop doing so that I could turn inward because we're trying to find our I am in the physical reality. And the physical reality is just a blueprint of what the I am is. So you will never, ever change a person, a place, or a thing out here based on your intention. Never, because the intention is coming from either I am or I am not. And this is why you're constantly disappointed. And this is why you're constantly feeling depressed or anxious because part of you knows that you are literally expending life force energy in the bitterness of resentment or in the bitterness of judgment or in the fear of debt or money or anger towards your own body. This is your life force energy being misused and it's going to be counterintuitive and it's actually going to create more and more separation from yourself. And when you get more separated from you, then the other people and places and things are going to treat you like you don't matter. Because I am not means I don't matter. I don't exist. So you're proving your worth, you're proving your world, you're proving your talent, and the feedback is, you're still not. So when you let all the cards fall and you rip off all the masks, you can realize that this is just a pattern. You've always been worthy. You've always been deserving. You've always been allowed. Abundance is your birthright, which means your imagination, whatever you could create, is actually how you demonstrate your God self. Creating your dream reality demonstrates spirit. Okay. And when you do it from a generous and kind and loving way that isn't gluttonous or, envious, when you're doing it from a pure state of love, it is the way that we teach others how to do it for themselves. Because when you are in the I am, you want everyone to be I am. Way better playground, way more fun when everyone around you is also I am. It wouldn't be fun if you were I am and nobody else was, because they wouldn't be clapping for you. But ultimately, remember, they are created from your blueprint. So the people you're worried about, the people that you're scared of, the people that you're in a fight with, all of those people would change in a new timeline, in a new virtual reality that you are creating from the simulation of the actor. The actor is working off a script. No matter how much you think you are, if your life is showing up I am not, you're gonna have to own it and just be like, I gotta get back to the beginning here. I am. Live in it. Soften. Get quiet and still. It's not about healing. Healing will happen on its own when you start speaking from I am. Everything will resolve when you start speaking from I am. So try it. You're in the perfect energy to do this month. The Taurus energy is very stubborn, very isolated, very homebody. So it's time for you to turn inward home and really learn how to use your imagination for living as already experienced in gratitude as many times a day as you can, to stop interacting with I am not programs. Shut it down. You can't prove your worth out there. Your worth is coming from inside your root, depending on the way it was programmed. No Nobel Peace Prize, no perfect body, no bag full of money is actually going to give you the feeling of I am worthy if your root is saying I am not. The best part about it is you're a lot happier with the I am with less, but you have more somehow. And that's all I can share with you right now. And if you guys really want to dive deep with us, there's still room in our non-duality masterclass this year, or in our Divine Feminine workshop, which basically we're kind of doing the same things because it's the subconscious and conscious mind becoming in union. Non-duality basically is we're creating a very happy marriage with them. So make sure you check out my website, jessicaalstrom.com, or I've got millions of other videos on YouTube if you want to understand this more. But ultimately, this is where all of the suffering is. And like attracts like. So you're probably surrounded with other people that are feeling I am not, and everybody is trying to prove their worth. And it is very much like civil war out there. So think about it from a different perspective, even though you know this. I'm not sharing anything you don't know. But the thing is in order for your genius to really move through you, there has to be harmony in your subconscious. You want your psychic abilities, they're all in your subconscious. You want to have this direct connection to channel and see everything in a very loving way and not yucky. Well, come together, because there is no darkness in love. So think about that and invest in yourself. This is like, there's nothing you can do out there. I don't mean the investment out there, unless it helps you get in here. You will go without until you go within. Okay? So thank you guys so much for joining me. This is what we are going through in our classrooms this year. This is where my personal journey is. And I will tell you a final thought, though. There's some times where you're going to have to change your moods. You're going to be in a shit mood, and you're going to have to change it, because you know that you're starting to build momentum in the I am, and the old pattern really wants to run. It really wants to be cynical or down or judgmental or depressed. And I will tell you that sugar is a depressant. Alcohol is a depressant. It's not going to help your I am training if you're going to go eat all that stuff, because it's going to be manipulating your hormones, and you're really going to need your hormones to be moving in a fluid, healthy way, not these dopamine rushes and crashes and all this stuff, in order to reprogram this basically feral animal that has been running a course of I am not ever since your first 7 years taught you. Okay, so the other day, I was not in a good mood when I woke up. Sometimes it happens. And, just in this funk. And I realized, like, I got to change this mood because this mood's going to turn into a pattern and I'm going to lose momentum here. And I'm on a roll. Like, I'm really 3 days in of this I am. And I wake up in a shit mood, right? What is that? Okay. Hormones, whatever. Shifts, changes, old patterns wanting to come back. So I literally was like, how am I going to get out of this mood? It's almost like it becomes obsessive with the reason that you're in the mood. Like we can justify why. And then I walked downstairs and I realized that my daughter was in a bad mood. And I was like, great, this is going to be very hard because, influence and misery loves company. And I'm like, I've got to go figure this out. So I go upstairs to get dressed and I'm taking her to school. And I'm like, I've got to change this mood. So, of course, I find these glasses. And this is so lame. This is so lame. I know this is so lame. But I decided that I'm going to build my whole outfit out of these ridiculous glasses. And as soon as I put them on and look in the mirror, I laugh. I'm like, I am such a dork. But this is like what I am. Like these glasses I purchased because I like them. All right. And so then I make sure that the whole outfit is on point. And as soon as I looked in the mirror, my mood shifted because your physiology is based off of your mind. Whether you're this or they're this, when you change your clothes, you can change your mind. Your mind can help you. Okay. And so I decided that because she's in a bad mood, and I know moods create patterns, patterns create reality. I don't want her creating a negative reality when I'm building and I am here. We're all going together. And so I decided that I'm going to take her to school in these classes, to high school. And so I get in the car and she gets in. Of course, she's not even paying attention to me. And I just kind of look at her like, and she just bust out laughing. Same thing that I thought when I put them on. And I said, I'm totally wearing these to drop you off at school. Like, would you be so embarrassed? And she's like, no, please keep them on. I needed this today. And everybody knows you're weird anyways. And they'll probably laugh too. And you're going to have a better tape because of it. And so just think about that when you are in a bad mood, that you have the power to change it. And that might be your first step in taking back your birthright of abundance that will flow through you like river when you change I am not to I am. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. See you soon. Bye.